Okay, we're resuming with Sera-Lys, and she was just talking about the atrocities that happened to these children and placed in these boarding schools. So they did have some kind of reconciliation at some point? Some of them?
Some people got a payout from the government. There's a movement called the Truth and Reconciliation, it's like a committee or a movement within Canada that is actively working to try and help people that have been damaged, that are still survivors of that. And also, it passes on to generations, if they weren't parented properly or they were treated with violence, then that would be how they would treat their kids probably. And in a lot of situations, if they haven't sought help already, to understand that that's wrong. So
absolutely, that's what I do. My work is seeing that repetition over and over again of how people were treated as children, and if they get in therapy, they'll become aware of it. And then if they become aware of it, they don't have to treat their children like their parents treated them. But it's very shocking because all of a sudden, a woman, after she starts to have children, she swore that I would never scream at my child the way my mother screamed. All of a sudden, she'll start behaving in the same way, and it's really shocking. If they can get into therapy, then they can get some consciousness of what's unconscious in them. That they can.
So that is what's happening now. There's the play that I was in, Where the Blood Mixes, it was very heavy, and there's a lot of emotional parts of it. There is a lot of comedy as well. That's really big in Native culture. So we appreciated, and we do also with Smoke, appreciate when there are Native people in the audience, because it changes the audience, because they know what's meant to be a joke, whereas maybe people that aren't Native might not get the joke, or they might think that it's offensive some way, or are we allowed to laugh at that?
Someone asked me about the humor in the play, and now I have a different viewpoint of it, because depending upon the audience, you may not see the humor.
Exactly, they might not laugh. I mean, they might be a heavier show. People, on Sunday, there's a lot of crying on stage and a lot of upset vibes on stage. So we worked with that, but then afterwards my friends were like, wow, it was pretty intense. They didn't say much about the humor because it probably wasn't highlighted as much that day. But also the thing about that was when people from residential schools that were survivors would come to the show when I was in Canada, this is to Where the Blood Mixes, we could